Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the podcast. You have made your way over to Jester Section Hiker, and where I used to say the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers, but lately the spotlight has been on Austin. So Austin...
Well, it's been on both of us. We've been talking about stuff we've been doing.
And we're both section hikers.
Yeah.
But I should say, Austin, I know you guys are shocked. Welcome back to the show.
What's going on? Great to be back, as always.
Yes, and now we are in the middle of October, and the audience got a little bit of a break from you last week because we had Paul Collins or Skunk Ape on, but you are back. And this is a little bit different episode for me.
Oh, boy.
I know. Here we go. And this is something that I have probably been talking to you about for a few months, if not several months, about taking a break from the show. So my original thought process on this, I was going to do a single episode where I was just going to come on and I was going to say, I'm taking a break from the show this fall, or however long that break ends up being. And then I decided that I wanted to have you on with me so we could kind of talk this out, because I'm having a hard time with it, even though I want to do it.
It's still it's one of those things that's got to feel right. And,
yeah.
And I don't think, and I'm sure there are folks out there that can appreciate and understand the time commitment that goes into creating a podcast episode every single week for 149?
This is 140. This is episode number 146, but I actually have, I believe, 3 bonus episodes. So I think I'm sitting right at 149. It would seem fitting to do 150, but hey, 149, it works.
149 is perfect. And so, that is a huge time commitment. It's not just what you hear on the podcast. It's setting up interviews and trying to come up with things to talk about and people to talk with. And even once you've got the podcast recorded, going through and fine tuning and editing where it needs to go and uploading and all the other things that go into it.
The artwork and the notes, the show notes.
Yeah. And the key thing that I've learned, just from my own experience, is that you absolutely must be having fun at all times. Well, maybe not at all times, but it's like hiking, you've got to still have fun at the end of the day. And when it stops being fun, when it starts feeling like a job, you have to pause and you have to ask yourself why you're doing it. And I think that's what you've done. Yeah, and that's what you're doing, and you and I have talked about this for quite a while. I think I've been him-hauling around for quite a while. Well, and that's okay. Because it's not an easy decision to make, and I don't think you necessarily have to even hold yourself to a decision, because it can feel, whatever it is, it can feel right, or it needs to feel right. I know. I would ask you. I would say, I don't know. What do you think about the podcast? And Austin would always say,
you could do whatever you want with your podcast.
Heck yeah, you
And I
can.
would be like, that's not the answer I wanted to hear. I wanted you to tell me exactly. But I think you knew I was kind of, I don't want to say him hauling around, but kind of him hauling around.
Well, no, you're wrestling with a lot of different things, and you're weighing options and trying to think more than just a week in front of you. We are looking long term.
Yeah.
Just as every person grows and evolves from one thing to another, you're evolving as a creator. And so there's nothing wrong with anything that you have put out up to this point, but I think you have aspirations to do more. I think we have aspirations to do more together. And that podcast may or may not be a part of that. Not to steal your thunder.
No, it actually kind of, it feels right. You and I having this conversation feels right. So just so I don't confuse everybody.
Because everybody's like, whoa, wait, let's back up.
What? So this is episode 146. There are a total of 149 Jester Section Hiker podcast episodes. My initial thought was my 3-year anniversary for the podcast would have been December the 1st. And I knew my decision was right when I said to myself, well, I'll just put some episodes out there so I could make it to December the 1st. And that didn't feel right. It didn't feel right that I would have people on just so I could make a 3-year anniversary date. It feels right doing this now. So I am officially going to be taking a break from the podcast. So next Saturday, it seems weird, there will not be an episode. I will not be getting up on Saturday morning. I'll still be getting up on Saturday morning, but I will not be posting the episode and, everything that goes along with that on a Saturday morning. And it's going to feel weird because for 3 years, I've been doing the same thing on a Saturday morning. Even when I was out hiking, I had to make sure I had internet so I could post about the episode on a Saturday morning. And and my other obligations, and things that I did for the Hiking Radio Network, I would have to make sure I was certain places at certain times. And this is not new to Mighty Blue. Steve and I have had a very candid conversation, and he is 100% supportive. And the podcast will sit on the Hiking Radio Network, and I'm going to take this fall off. And I was still contemplating whether or not I was going to say the next thing, but I think I'm going to.
I think it's important that we do.
Yeah. I don't know if you know what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
There's two things I need to say. One, I need to say, over the actually almost 2 years, I have been dealing with a chronic injury in my foot. And I'm getting that taken care of again for a second time. Last year, I actually had foot surgery, never told anybody. I don't even think I told you, Austin, until, 6 or 7 months after
it was definitely after the fact.
After I had the surgery. And I need to go back. And that's going to happen this fall. And I made another comment to Austin. I said, I just have to get back to my hiking as well. The hiking that I want to do, and because of this injury, I've tried, and I haven't been able to. This injury, it did curtail me last year on the John Muir Trail. That was part of the deal, in addition to the altitude, I was having an issue with my foot. And this injury stopped me from going on the trip this summer with Steve to Mount Whitney. And I'm tired of it. So I got to get that fixed. And I'm getting it fixed this fall. So that's another reason to kind of step away from the podcast, is because I really need to take care of that. And I don't need to worry about much. for the next few weeks. And then I think I'm going to say, is that what you thought I was going to say?
I wasn't expecting the injury thing, but I think, it's important.
It's important.
It's an important point to make that when you're creating a podcast or a YouTube channel or anything like that, the first person that you should be doing it for, and this sounds selfish, but in a way it's not. You have to do it for yourself first.
Yeah.
You have to be the one that's excited about it. And to a point, you almost don't need to worry about what other people think. You put it out there because you like it. And if other people like it, great. And if they don't, then oh well. And I think that's, and as you approach this decision, I think that's a good frame of mind.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we sit here, I'm not sad.
Which means it's the right decision.
Yeah. It was weighing on me how I was going to say this, because it's part of what I do every week, every Saturday. So, the injury, it's just time to take a break. And then the third thing, which I think Austin thought I was going to say is, and we talked about this before we came on and you told me to hit the record button. I think I am changing creatively.
Yeah.
And have changed over the last 3 years. And one of the things that I tried to do on the podcast was mix things up a lot. Talk about different topics, bring on different section hikers. I mean, hiker safety. I mean, having you as a, podcast host, having, RVA on, having Carissa on for multiple episodes. And, you and I kind of, figuring out, hey, wow, we really work well together. And, we worked really well together on the IMST project. And that is going to lead us into doing some other things.
Yeah.
And we've already gotten phone calls.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
But I think that's important to note too, is that you're not just hanging up the podcast. You're just kind of putting it to the side because it's still going to be there and it's still going to be an outlet that you can go back to if you want. But you're not just going to have this void of creativity. Think I'm
there is no void. Okay. Even though I am going to take care of my injury, there still isn't, there's having the surgery and then there's recovery and then there's physical therapy. So all of that, and then there's my day job as an educator.
Right.
I know. And
the
then,
job that keeps the lights on.
The job that keeps the lights on and the mic's hot. And then somebody says that I listen to. I don't know who says that.
I like
it.
Probably,
the lights on and the mic's hot. That's why you're supposed to donate to their show. But, and, quite honestly, I was talking to this the other day with Stephanie, and I was like, I don't even think I'm who I need to be at work because of this injury. It's just what I focus on, and I just need to get it taken care of. So I need to become a better Julie Gayhart, so to speak, which is also leading to different ways that I want to hike, different ways that I want to go on trips, and different things I want to do professionally, because honestly, I love entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I live it. I teach it at school. And, one of my, goals and ambitions, was to really, one day, I don't know, maybe own my own business, maybe co-own my own business, maybe, do a lot of things. And I think you and I are heading in a particular direction. I don't know if I told too much.
You tell as much as you want.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, frankly, that's the direction we're heading. I think the MST project helped you and I to understand each other and understand that we work well together. We're able to have candid and open conversations and realize, each other's strengths and weaknesses, and be able to intertwine our strengths so that we complement each other. And I've told you this before, just between the two of us, but I've been around long enough to know that that doesn't just happen. And so I'm very, very excited for what the future holds.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do some projects that mean something. We're not just out there to try to create something, or just out there to try to make money. Trying to create meaningful projects that connect with people. Because that's what you and I, at the end of the day, have been trying to do with each of our outlets. You with the podcast, and me with the YouTube channel. We're trying to connect with people.
Yeah.
And convey passion and convey ideas, and with our ideas going forward, I think that we're going to continue to complement each other's strengths. Not to be too mysterious.
I mean, what's interesting is when, I'm very proud of the fact that I started this podcast and no one still is putting the spotlight on section hikers.
Yeah.
That's why in the tagline, I always said the premier podcast, because it is the one and only podcast that is specifically putting the spotlight on section hikers. And you guys, I started this podcast and then COVID, COVID hit, and I didn't know where this podcast was going to go during COVID, because, hiking took a whole nother level on a lot of different trails, and people weren't hiking and people were hiking. And we powered through, we made it through COVID. We came out the other side, and I have gotten several emails over the years. People are like, oh, I had somebody actually email me and say, I hope Mighty Blue pays you a good salary. And I kind of actually want to address that. Mighty Blue does not pay any of us a salary. We do this because we have a passion and a love for creating content and interviewing and storytelling and letting other hikers tell their stories. And I have gotten so much more out of this than any monetary value could ever pay me. There's no way I would be involved in the Mountains of Sea Trail right now, period, if it was not for this podcast.
Yeah.
There's no way I would be on the board for the Friends of the Mountains of Sea Trail if it wasn't for this podcast. There's no way I would be involved with Mighty Blue in the Woods Hole weekend if it wasn't for this podcast. And there's certainly no way you and I would have connected if it wasn't for this podcast in the Mountains of Sea Trail.
And you can't put a price on any of that.
There is no dollar value. And, if you listen to any of the great entrepreneurs, any business owners, anybody that has longevity in their field, they did things for multiple years for free that nobody even knows about, that led them to so many more opportunities. And I am just thankful and grateful to Mighty Blue for asking me to join the network. Because he put his faith in me. We didn't know each other. And he was just like, hey, you want to do this podcast? Get a mic, get a computer, and here we go.
It'll be easy. Don't worry about it.
It'll be easy. And I'm not a writer. I was always a public speaker because of being in education, but talking to a mic is a whole different story. So I'm very grateful and thankful. And this is going to lead many different directions. And I like the avenue that Austin and I are going. I like what we did with the I Am the MST series, creating the video series, but also doing a behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not being done that I can tell. From a podcast medium to, a video, mini series, a film series, I don't know anyone that's doing that. They may be, but I think it's unique. We just haven't found them. Yeah. We just haven't found, we're not looking for them, but, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. And, so I'm going on a fall break and maybe a winter break. And I hate to leave it like this, but I'm not quite sure where Jester Section Hiker sits. except for the fact that it sits on the Hiking Radio Network. And I hope it continues to get downloads. And if I decide to come back, then hooray, awesome. I've had my break and I feel good about it. And if Austin, you and I decide to go down a different avenue, and I don't think podcasting is out of the realm of our new avenue. What do you think?
Certainly not.
Yeah.
If anything, it's only going to complement it.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I was going to do this episode by myself. And then I asked Austin if he would come on and kind of help me work this out, because he and I have been talking about this for quite a bit. And Austin, I think you're kind of going through the same thing on your YouTube channel, Side Trail Adventures. So
100%.
Yeah.
Podcasts and YouTube are very different things, because podcasts actually cost money to put out. Whereas YouTube doesn't charge to upload videos. At least not yet, knock on wood. But so in a way, it's different, but in the same breath, this MST project has shown both of us individually how our creative process has evolved, and that we're drawn to do something new. And definitely I'm in the same boat where my YouTube channel's not going anywhere. It's gonna still be on the interwebs, and I still enjoy going on long distance hiking and long distance kayaking trips. And every now and then you're going to see me, partially drown in a whitewater kayak. But
I'm kind of waiting for those videos. I don't know why. I kind of like those.
Well, but it's going to be there's just going to be fewer of them. But they're still going to be there. I'm still going to put out trip videos because that's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So I'm still, I think one of the first interviews that you and I did, you'd asked me about how much time does filming take away from my hike? And I was like, well, it doesn't take any time away from my hike because that's part of my hike. So I still enjoy filming and my trips. So those are still going to be there. It's not going away, but they're 100% going to be different. I just went on a overnight kayaking trip with some of my River King buddies, and I didn't talk to the camera once the entire trip.
How'd that feel?
Natural,
yeah.
But I filmed everything with a certain idea in my mind.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So the trip videos are still going to be there. They're just going to look a little different.
Yeah. And I think the podcast will still be there. And if I decide, if there's somebody out there I want to interview, I'm going to have them on, interview them and put it out there. I know one person I'm definitely going to chat to again. I've talked to every year, is Craig Hawkmains. That's my homeboy. And, he is out there on the, AT right now. He just flipped. He's going south and he's working on number 7. So, it'll be interesting because I actually, so this might be the last official episode, but if I catch up with Hawk, I'll put that out there too.
Yeah. I think that's important, is that you're not completely saying, hang it up and close the door and lock it away and never speak of it again. Like, it's just not going to be every week. No, because
that would hurt my heart.
Well, yeah, it's just not going to be every week like it has been.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. So, to be continued.
That's a good way to put it.
Until next time.
Yes, to be continued. But for now, we're going to take a break. And from the depth of my heart, and I'm very serious when I say this, every single listener out there took a chance on a podcast that started 3 years ago about section hikers and, putting the spotlight on individuals that don't through hike, but take their vacation, take time away from their families to complete long distance trails. And in my mind, in the hiking world, those are the true heroes. Those are the ones that, take their vacation and take time away from their spouses, their partners, and go out and do kayaking trips or, long distance trails. And it takes years. And that is perseverance. And that is what I like. And that's why we're section hikers. So
preach it.
Thank you, everybody. And like Austin said, to be continued. So we'll close it out. As always, you can go to the hikingradionetwork.com. The Jester Section Hiker Show is still going to be sitting there. It is going to be weird next Saturday for me and hopefully for some of you all when there is no episode. But hey, go download some of your favorites. Listen to the other shows on the Hiking Radio Network. Go over and watch some of Austin's videos on Side Trail Adventures on YouTube. And you guys, if you have not seen his John Muir Trail series, go over there and watch that. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. Thanks for listening, everybody. See y'all soon, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way, if you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray. The music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.